What do you think about this myth that our time is primarily controlled by other people? Because you're saying you can be in the driver's seat.
You can be. So by default, your time is controlled by other people. That's just, every time somebody texts you, emails you, messages you, knocks on your door, asks you for something, what they're doing is they're putting their priorities on your schedule. And the other truth is that nobody will ever ask you to accomplish your most important priorities. They're only ever going to ask you to accomplish theirs.
It's funny how
right?
that
So if I
works.
ask you for something, I'm not asking you, George, have you got EntreLeadership episode whatever ready to go? I'm saying, hey, George, can you help me with this project, right? That's my priorities on yours. But that's what we do to other people. So how do you stop that from happening? Well, you can stop that happening in a couple of different ways. Number one, in your green zone, I would suggest protect it as though your life depended on it. What that means is all notifications off on your devices, including whatever device is sitting beside you, not just the one you're working on, so that you can be undistracted. If you're in cubicle world, put a little traffic cone up there, a little note on your cubicle that says, hey, talk to me after 11 a.m. or after 2 p.m. or whatever. But you should get some undistracted time so you can focus. There's brain research that shows that a single interruption can take you up to 25 minutes to recover from. So one knock at the door, you're working on a really good idea. You're like, okay, I'm in the flow. This is awesome. Someone knocks on the door, about 25 minutes before you can fully refocus. And we've all been in the place where you've got a really good idea, someone interrupts you, you come back to it, and it's like, now, what was that again? And sometimes you don't get it back, you don't remember. So try to be as distraction-free as possible. The other thing I would say is you've got to limit what you say yes to. And so you got to master the art of saying no, which is really hard to do. That is probably what I struggle with the most. When I was writing the book, I thought priorities would be good to have something on priorities. It's the largest section of the book. Because if you don't get this right, all the theory in the world, your green zone, yellow zone, red zone, I have the time to do it, it all goes out the window because other people destroyed your productivity. So you got to master the art of saying no. And I think you can do that nicely. I am Canadian. So, you want to say, George, I would love to help you. Thank you so much for asking. However, in light of my current commitments, I'm not able to help. Really appreciate you. Hope we can do something else in the future. Sincerely, Carey. Right? Something like that. And the other thing I would encourage in priorities is there's a very good chance that you are spending your time with all the wrong people and not spending nearly enough time with the right people. Because what most of us do by default, again, this is gravity is pushing you there. This is nobody's fault. It's just the way the world is you're going to spend all of your people time with your low performers, your angriest customers, the staff member who's always late, the salesperson who can't seem to close a deal. And, you're calling them into your office. All right, Carey, we got to talk again. You missed last quarter's objectives. What do we need to do? You were late for the meeting. We need you to be on time. And then what happens next week? Well, they're still not hitting their goals. They're late again. This time their car broke down or their cat died or something. They got some excuse. And these are what John Townsend calls people with flat learning curves. And through all your time invested, like if you're starting to see return on those, awesome. But then you won't have to meet with them anymore because now they're always on time. Most of us spend a lot of time with the chronic underperformers, the chronic complainers, and you need to draw some boundaries there because you leave that meeting drained. They leave the meeting no better helped, and your mission has suffered in the meantime. On the other hand, your top producers, they never ask for your time. You ever notice that? Like your best employees, they're never like, can we go grab lunch? They're just out killing it. So what you should do is you should flip it and say, hey, top salesperson, hey, top performer, hey, marketing division leader, up and comer, let's have lunch. And they'll be really excited to have lunch with you. And how do you feel after those meetings?
Great.
Fantastic. And they're probably going to work even harder and you're going to learn from them and they're going to learn from you and your mission moves forward. And so those are ways to think about realizing your priorities. You got to cut your losses. One last tip on like saying no. This is from Greg McEwen. He basically says, if it's not on a scale of 1 to 10, if it's not a 9, it's a 0. And that's so convicting to me because every day still I'm having to decide what city am I going to fly to? What invitations am I going to accept? And our lives get filled up with a whole lot of 6, 7s, and 8s. And if you can just say, if it's not a 9, it's a 0, I think you'll see some huge results.